Hi, this is Ramirez with Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts, and today I'm here with one of our other instructors, Christine, and we're going to talk about something we've been talking about during our training with Partisans, and utilizing the butt spike and also utilizing the bind with the head of the Partisan. So we're going to both get in guard. And this doesn't really matter lefty-righty, I can switch off, but I'm going to start left-handed. That when we come into a bind, extend out, and we have a lock here. A lot of times we'll futz or try to get around, but really, if I can close, now you'll notice my lead leg is on my left hand. I'm going to switch my left and right hands in position and go up. This is going to bring my butt spike in the perfect position to go ahead and do my stab. And we were talking about this because a lot of times when we were binding, Christine wasn't able to get at me or just like, get away, get away, get away. And that the important thing is that when we're doing this, that I do this flip. So I'm not just pushing up here, which then, you know, if she wants to disengage her blade and cut, is possible. What I want to do is actually, once I get a bind like this, immediately coming up and also bringing this, so the hands are reversing positions. This is taking my opponent's partisan out of the way and immediately engaging my butt spike forward towards my opponent. And I was doing this for Christine to practice it. So once again, if we're in a bind and she immediately pushes up and switches those arms, she's already in a position and she's knocking my partisan out of the way to come forward with that butt spike. Now, obviously, there are other situations where if this was crossed, you know, it's not quite the same and we have different binds. But anytime we're fighting these and we make this bind, it's up and reverse into this position. Now, this was relevant. Recently, I had competed in Partisan at Queen's Gambit, and one of the things, their rules were you couldn't swing in an arc. So in other words, if I had done this and I came up like this, that would count as a greater than 90-degree angle. So it is imperative that if you are competing in that particular tournament, that you come up and that's the attack. Because then you're not swinging that in, you're actually doing the thrust through. Once again, it doesn't matter lefty, righty, 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 as long as somehow there's my bind. Once again, Christine will exercise the activity by flipping up and coming into position. Doesn't matter. When you get in this lock, rather than wrestling and fighting, up in a position. So that's really what I want you to think when you're thinking about utilizing your butt spike. One more thing that we could do, if Christine comes in with the haft, this is fighting with your dag. And if you've seen my poleaxe video, I'm very big on, if this was real, the weight would be here. Minimal weight here. So I want you to go ahead and use the partisan head, is that I can still come up. And if I can counter, once I can get past that head, I can target the body. And if someone is really fighting me, come through with my slashing end. So it really isn't outrageous to be fighting in this position and just letting that person, and in my case, I'm doing this as a lefty, I am countering. And if they put in any resistance, come through here. I believe this also works righty. So I will switch this up here. Feels a little weird. Yeah. But once again, I can get that out of the way. Any resistance from them, come through here. So this would be actually more historical than some people will fight like this. Because that weight, honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's not as productive. Now, there was one exception to that. I did fight someone at Queen's Gambit who did a pike formation style, even though these aren't pikes. He kind of locked into his hip. And so if you think about it, I want you to just kind of come forward into this. You'll see. He was just like, I'm just coming in. Oh, yeah. And he braced it against his body to kind of get that feel. And I was impressed, because I recognized, oh, you did pike and shot before. But for the most part, if we're using this not as a pike, as a partisan, want to keep in mind that's very heavy up front, being like way out here, and theoretically you should still be able to take advantage. If Christine pushes on what's now the weak of my partisan right here, she has no trouble really control. I'm putting a lot of pressure. She's not putting a lot of pressure to control it. So we want to have it in the mid or even up here. Back weighted, this is ridiculous. You know, like once again, even from the point of view, once if I can get this butt spike past the head of her partisan, I now have control. I could come back and stab, but that could be a little fighty. Or I can, once again, drop it and come through. So these are just some thoughts on partisan fighting. These are the Descendant Leather partisans. These are what they used at Queen's Gambit, and I just wanted to give you a little insight. All right, we're Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts. We're based out of Norfolk, Virginia, and I will see you in the next video.